Hello, it's Jay here with a random questions tag that I was tagged in. Oh boy, oh boy. Actually, I really need to go to the original videos and actually say, hey, thanks for tagging me in, that I enjoyed their versions. This is the Soggy Expat Book Maniac random question tag by Heather, it's the Soggy Expat Book Nerd, and Sean the Book Maniac. Um, and yes, let's get into the questions. I'm doing this outdoors al fresco because hey, that is how Sean has been doing his while he has been in Japan, going out to parks and braving children having massive tantrums in the background and hot guys walking by and all that. So I figured I'd honor that by sitting in the greenery of my backyard, and you'll probably get entertained by barking dogs freaking out at some point in the video. So yeah, okay. Here are the questions. Very random questions. Question number one: soggy, cold, soggy fries. Yay or nay? This would be a nay, even though I'm going to risk alienating Heather. That I think I'm like Sean. Either I just eat all those fries, or I reheat them up. Never been a big fan of cold soggy fries, and I don't find myself in the conditions that apparently are, recovering from a drinking binge to be able to need soggy cold fries. Question number two: expat. Have you ever lived abroad? If not, would you? No, I've never lived abroad. I've done a bunch of traveling at various parts of my life, but I've never actually lived abroad. It's one of those things. Would I now? I'm an old dude. It's like, it's one of those things of like, for an old dude, it's hey, healthcare. It's dogs. Can I take the dogs with me? Got a house that actually I'm kind of attached to, and just sort of general money of how would I live, and all that stuff. It probably makes it fairly unlikely. In the case that maybe a whole ton of money suddenly fell into my lap and I could live anywhere, I definitely would. I probably would like to live. I would live somewhere where I was forced to get immersed in a foreign language, and was somewhere where people weren't inclined to help you, which probably means I should learn French. Go to France and learn and learn French, because they're not going to want they're not going to want to speak English, so they would force me to actually learn the language and learn how to read, and Theo learn the ways of French love. Oh, blah. French love and blah, which is what the French would probably do when they heard my accent. So, okay, so there is, oh my god, you're a wiggly worm. All right, number three, book. A trip you took and or would like to take because of a book or an author made you want to see it in person. I've never. I'm the star of the show, not you. Um, I would say, oh God, okay, here, shift like that, then he'll shift because he wants to be the star. I would say setting has never been a big thing for me. Never been a big thing for me in books. And like, oh, I want to visit this place because it's so evoked in a book. I'm all about characters and stuff like that for the most part. I've had trouble in the past with just sort of long descriptive passages. I mean, I would say as a body of work, and this is like books and media, it was probably doing a road trip of the United States and getting to see what the actual United States was versus the media that I was consuming at the time. And that was like the 90s, where, I think I had a very white idea of what the United States was, and a very kind of sanitized, cleaned up, um, middle class and above view of what the United States was, which is, surprise, surprise, not exactly borne out by doing a road trip through various different areas of the United States. Some of it was a really pleasant surprise. Other parts of it, I just drove faster as a frightened Canadian. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. I'll leave that as my example. Number four, a book. A book or author from Canada or Wales that you would like to read. I'll probably pass on the Canadian one because I've actually been doing a little bit more reading of Canadian literature and just literature and history lately. Yeah, so that is not somewhere that I probably need the push. But so a Welsh author, which is one of these things of like I went, okay, well I should probably take a look at what Sean or Heather have been saying and pick a book from that to just give myself a little push and like experience something from it. I use questions like this as sort of a prompt to, oh hey, let's pick up an author. And so this is actually Sean, but via Scott at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. He did a review of a book called Hello Friend, We Missed You. The Robert, hi, I'm still here. The Robert Owing Roberts, a 2020 book about a fellow Hill and the grief over the loss of his wife and the terrible things he does. Yeah, okay, this is becoming a very exciting, oh my God, exciting video. Okay, let's, oh my God. You guys, holy cow. Here, I'm gonna have to pause for a second now. Okay, lots of excitement here. Let's hopefully I'm not doing the rest of the video upside down, in which case I'm gonna have to edit the whole bloody thing, which will mean it'll take an extra month for me to actually release this. So yeah. I'm gonna go. I'll go with that. Robert Owen Roberts, his 2020 novel, which was cheap on Kindle, which is not a consideration as well. So, and cheap by cheap, I mean it was like about 8 something Canadian, which is like okay, I'll give this one a try. So yes, that's what I'm gonna try, of a Welsh author. Number 5, random, embarrassing parent story time. A time your parent slash guardian embarrassed you to your core and you're still recovering, or a time that you were that parent. Uh, I've got enough stuff with my parents that I don't want to go into an embarrassing story about my parents because it's not fun stories, and I'm not a parent myself, but I'll just say an embarrassing story about myself is that I was visiting the Grand Canyon and I had this idea like, oh, I'm gonna hike all the way down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon in one go and then all the way back up, and I got all the way down, and then I turned around and I got about halfway back up feeling kind of like and there were like tons of hikers, you know, coming streaming down. And I was just like and I turned to one side, barfed behind a bush, and wiped my thing. And you know, there's all these people looking at me, and I just kept on walking, kept on hiking up the thing. It's like, oh God damn it. Yeah, so that would be my embarrassing story of barfing. So you know, I don't even have to get drunk to barf. So that is great. Um, Number 6, maniac. One or two other things you're a maniac about, aside from obviously being a book maniac. Um, Ooh, let's go genre because Sean loves a good genre story. I would say that the thing I'm a maniac about, and that I didn't quite realize exactly how much of a maniac I was about, was Star Trek. Star Trek, the new Star Trek, going from like J.J. Abrams, Sean's already tuning out at this point, has been kind of like, nah, really not that interested in. Haven't been really interested in all the new TV shows that have come out. Yeah, they've been doing kind of very kind of long. This Star Trek Discovery was the kind of the latest one up until recently, and it was doing kind of very long form storytelling, and Picard did long form storytelling, and I think it highlighted that, you know, you get really great writers who just do stuff like not Tombstone. What the fuck am I thinking about? The sweary western, or the Battlestar Galactica, the reboot of that, like how the, you know, really long storytelling, like really great writers, you know, starting from like, you know, maybe Oz and stuff like that. They can tell amazing stories, but if you're not good at this and you're not actually kind of crafting a complete story, you're just making up things as you go along. It's just a horrible freaking mess, and that's what I've felt about a lot of Star Wars. recently. None of this identity politics nonsense, one way or the other. I don't care. I just wanted a good story, and what's convinced me that I actually am a bit of a maniac about Star Trek is that they've come out with a new series, Strange New Worlds, which is following Captain Pike, who is the captain of the Enterprise before Captain Kirk, and comes to a terrible, terrible end, and that is addressed. And he knows, the Pike in this story knows that it's coming. He's seen into the future and knows his terrible fate is coming. But they're doing it episodically. They're going back to the old formula where they're doing one story at a time. Each episode is one story you could drop in at each point. There is some continuing things going along, but it's like, wow, I am so enthusiastic and so happy about that. Yes, Steve, it's probably not following the continuity. It's not like going to go line up exactly, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying that they've gone back to episodic, just one story each episode, and they're really good at it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm so happy about that. I think the amount of joy I'm getting from that goes like, oh my God, I think I actually am a Trek enthusiast. Scary. So that's a rather kind of a recent discovery about myself. Oh, true confessions in the random book, random question tag. Number 7. Have you ever been hideously lost, literally or figuratively? Oh, I've been lost for so long. I don't even know where the hell I am right now. In the literal sense, I have, with my friends, we would leave the house at the beginning of a summer's day and just go out into the woods in Kelowna when it was a little bit more the interior of British Columbia, and we would just go out into the woods and just walk and walk and walk and walk. And there's definitely, I remember a day on there where just like, oh, we had no clue where we were, none whatsoever, and it was just like, okay, we're here. We just start following the valleys, follow the valleys down. Kelowna is in the Okanagan Valley, so if we follow the valley down, we're going to hit the water, and we know if we hit the water, then we just have to go right, and we'll find Kelowna again. I don't think it didn't quite come to that, but that was like completely lost, and that's in my own. That was in literally my own neck of the woods at that point. In Venice is in Italy is extremely Byzantine place to walk around in, and if you don't know it, there's just square upon square, and they all looked the bloody same to me as a tourist. And it was, when I was there last, Google Maps hadn't quite caught up yet, and yeah, we're pleasant. I'd say we're pleasantly lost there. So that was good. Number 8. Random, a memorable encounter with a stranger. I was thinking about that. Do I have? Because I have a lot of stranger danger issues. I'm not very talkative to strangers, but I do remember a stranger who came up to me once, who didn't obviously have any qualms about sticking their nose in. And at this point, I had super long hair. I was wearing a tie-dyed T-shirt, and if you want to know about me, like I grew up in a family with a father who was an alcoholic. I do not drink. I don't take drugs. I have that sense that whatever genetic stuff I have in my background, I think I'd like it way too much if I ever did take up that stuff. And I determined that, luckily, early in my teen years that, like, yeah, I'm not gonna even go down that path. So I looked like all freaky, but this woman came up to me and said, like, oh, you're going down a bad path. You're bad. You need to be careful, honey. You're gonna be. It's just all bad. And I'm sure it was coming from a place of maybe they had people in their life that had gone down a bad path, but looked at me with long hair and a tie-dye T-shirt and decided I was super blissed out of my mind, rather than probably smiling nervously like, who is this woman and why are they talking to me? So that is a memorable encounter with a stranger. Number 9, random. What did you want to be when you grew up? If you now have achieved that in real life, what's it like to be a fantastically stable as an adult? Asking for a friend, apparently. You'll have to ask somebody else for, who's fantastically has been able to chart that path, because I definitely had many false starts. I grew up in the, it's the early 80s is like when I guess you would be thinking about what do you want to do with your life. And it was the time of, oh, be a computer programmer, whatever the hell that meant. It was at that point where it was a magical thing, not a boring job that you, well, I don't know about boring job, but it wasn't like the grind and drinking Jolt Cola that it is today. God, I'm dating myself horribly. So that never panned out. I can type very quickly though, which is one of those things that come in handy. I also like to write stories, and there was probably at one point I thought, oh, I'd love to be an author, but my own fragile ego kind of nixed that one. I still write stories, but just for my own entertainment. So yes, as a we'll have to watch other people's videos to find these fantastically stable adults and be in awe of them. Number 10, random. Are you a people watcher? Do you have a good peripheral hearing? Share an anecdote or three. I have shitty peripheral hearing. I have terrible straight on hearing. There's a reason why I'm a big reader. It's because oral stuff does not get into my brain. That said, I would say that I do watch people, and it's not just fashion police, or it's like I'm always like it's interesting to watch someone from behind and say like how they're moving can sometimes tell me so much about them, of like what kind of mental state they might be in, or and stuff like that. For people that I was struck by, I used to live up island in Courtney Comox area, and I go to the grocery store, and there was these two women who were probably in their late 50s at that point, who dressed in kind of very in black poofy dresses, like just kind of very dramatic, and they had super heavy makeup with like bright red spots on each cheeks, and they looked super intense, and they're just doing their grocery shopping. It's like sort of, it's kind of wicked witch stepmothers, and I always wondered about them, of like was there something going on? That there was two of them was interesting to me, that it wasn't just like if it was one person I would think, okay, this is one person sort of in their own world, but this was two people. So they were obviously they were together. I don't know if they're together or if they're like sisters or just people who had meshed or something like that, but it's like they both had the kind of the same outfits and the same demeanor. And it just, yeah, I always wondered about them. I was always curious about them, but not enough to actually go up and actually engage with them in conversation. Jesus Christ, I'm a complete coward when it comes to strangers. All right, so that is the 10 random questions with dog mugging included in there. Mugging in both senses of the word, mugging for the camera and getting mugged and getting the camera knocked over and all that. So very exciting video. Yeah, it was a really cool one. I will tag Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading, because Kelly has the most warm and welcoming channel, and she's even manages to coax me into actually commenting on her videos every once in a while, which is super sweet of her, and shows the level of anxiety I have, that I need the safest channel on the internet to actually poke my little head up. So yes, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Heather, for this fun tag. It's cool to do. I hope you enjoyed all the greenery and the dog mosh pit that happened there, and hopefully this isn't all upside down, because that'll be really annoying to edit if it is. All right, I've been Jay. More videos later.